Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. Today we are in Beverly Hills, California, and we're at the Milken Global Conference 2025. This is the fourth year that Mission Matters is covering the conference. This is going to be part of our interview series that we're putting together that's going to contain anywhere between 70 to 100 interviews from the conference with participants, with people that came into town for the conference and for other events as well. So today is a very special episode. So we're going to go through and let's start with the intros. All right, so first off, Miss Nomin Chinbat. She's Mongolia's Minister of Culture, Sports, Tourism, and Youth. She's a Harvard Business School graduate and one of Mongolia's most influential leaders. Since 2021, she has championed Mongolia's creative economy, introducing landmark legislation like the Cultural Creativity Bill, driving a record 1.6 billion with a B in tourism revenue, and modernizing the country's cultural and legal infrastructure. Big deal. All right, she's also a couple other of her accolades. So Forbes Mongolia's 30 Under 30. She's recognized in 2024 Women Changing the World Gold Award. And geez, the list goes on. You chair Mongolia's international branding efforts, forge global partnerships with institutions like Cambridge University and the Premier League's Fulham FC. So let's give it up for Nomin.
Thank you.
All right, and then I have next, Tianna Nguyen is founder of Alensia and has held roles at PwC, Credit Suisse, Invesco, and JP Morgan with a background in PE, VC, M&A, and corporate finance. Her work included projects in tech, sustainability, and impact investing. Tianna holds degrees from Ohio State University, Harvard University, and Hult International Business School. She's a Milken YLC member, co-founder of Harvard Alumni Entrepreneurs Singapore, a philanthropist, and serves on multiple boards and mentorship programs. She was also a key speaker at the Mongolian Economic Forum in 2024. Let's give it up for Tianna. All right, Namuun Battulga. She's CEO of Jenko Tour JSC and Bayongo Hotel and Resorts. I'm saying that right? Bayongo? All right. And she's a board member at Maki Imports. I want to make sure I get it right.
Meat export company.
Wonderful. I have to say, when we were prepping for this interview, she showed me this amazing PDF and this presentation on a meditation center that she's putting together and that I'm doing. We're going to talk about that today, but it's called the Grand Maitra Complex. And you're going to have to send that out to everyone because it's amazing. It's beautiful. I can't wait to hear more about it. Let's give it up for Namuun. All right, Dan, the other side. The guys up here, right? We got some. Next, Daniel Kang, also known as Dan, is a veteran entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in global apparel manufacturing and sourcing. Having led operations generate over $2 billion in revenue and managing a team of 2,500 plus across international offices. Today, he channels his expertise into building legacy-driven, community-focused ventures like Berify, a dynamic tech platform designed to empower creators and brands through peer-to-peer engagement, exclusive content, and play-to-earn experiences. Welcome, Dan. All right, Nomin. So I've been, in preparing for this and just understanding the panels that be up here, I've been excited. I've been excited to learn more about Mongolia. Like Shrag mentioned, we may know some of the things about the history of Mongolia, but like what's happening present day. So I guess first thing first, let's start with stability. So how important has stability been to Mongolia?
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see everyone here, and thank you very much for having us. Well, Mongolians have been a very proud country. As a heritage history, we are, as you may know, have a long history. And I'd like to start with something, and I want everybody here to kind of learn something about Mongolia. I think everybody says Genghis Khan, but we call him Chinggis Khan. Chinggis means a spiritual word that really brings you luck. So please, next time when you talk about Chinggis Khan, properly announce his name. So his name is not Genghis Khan, it is Chinggis Khan.
Got it. Did I mispronounce it? No.
No, you have actually done it perfectly. As a Minister of Culture, I think I would love to say this. And during Milken, a lot of people were saying it Genghis Khan, so I just thought it would be nice to start with that. But having said that, this country is actually in the rise. Our country has been last 4 years a very stable country. So in about 32 years ago, our country transitioned from socialism to free market economy, and since then, of every almost year and a half, prime ministers were changing. But last 5 years, we have been having a stable government, a very young and visionary prime minister leading the country, which has who was the author of our Vision 2050, which is the long-term vision. So that allowed us to have a stable growth. Today, we have around 5 to 7% year-on-year growth of GDP, and doubled our GDP per capita within the last 3 years, and one of the fastest growing economy in Asia. So I think the stability has allowed us to bring back our country on the market.
Let's keep it on culture a little bit longer. So, Tianna, culture, maybe some tips on doing business in Mongolia.
Yeah, I think Mongolia is extremely proud of their culture and heritage. So the nomadic lifestyle is something that's extremely important to them. So I think that's something that people have to really understand and reiterate, and really try to dive deep when they meet other fellow Mongolians. Also the sense of hospitality, and Mongolians are known to be super welcoming. There's these tents because of the nomadic culture to have gears that are placed around. And so when you have travelers around, food can be placed out. There's exchange of food and drinks. And there's also some famous Genghis Khan
Vodka?
I didn't want to say alcohol. So you can't turn that one down. And also tea as well, and the food. And then also there's a gift giving custom as well. One of the things that I've learned, and it happened when I was in Mongolia for the first time before, someone accidentally stepped on my foot. And when you get your foot stepped on, you actually should shake hands with the person right after.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's these really small customs that once you actually immerse yourselves into it, I think it's been a beautiful, beautiful time there, as well as the people are just so friendly. Hence the panel.
And Namuun, speaking of doing business, so I know you're in the meat export business and also wheat, I believe. So maybe you can give some tips as well.
Thank you. For Mongolia, our agriculture and tourism is growing very extensively, and yes, we export organic meat to China, Iran, and other countries as well. And of course, we would love to, I guess, maybe someday dream to come to America as organic meat. Yeah, for tourism as well, Mongolia has been growing a lot, especially we have a lot of Netflix movies in the past 5-6 years, and that has led a lot of people to come to Mongolia to travel and immerse in our culture.
And Van, so I know you're a veteran in business over 25 years, doing business in Mongolia. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the startup culture and what you've seen and or heard. Like, what are you seeing there?
So just for clarification, I've never been to Mongolia, but I'm pretty sure my descendants come from it. I'm Korean.
Okay.
And I know there's a direct lineage to the Mongolian Koreans. But with that said, I think the challenges of where Mongolia faces is the landlocked position, it's the geographical positioning of it. But that doesn't mean it's forever. It used to be the Silk Road, so prior to travel in waterways, it was the Silk Road path. Now, as time evolves, what can this land be utilized for? There's a lot of natural resources. Just to give you perspective, it's the size of Alaska, 2 Texases.
Yes.
There's only 3.5 million people there. So imagine the vast opportunities there, and if we look at the natural resources that Mongolia provides, from the minerals as well as other attributes, their temperate climate is actually very, very unique because it's always cold. So a lot of tech people out here should be able to figure out what can be deployed in Mongolia. So in my position, I would look at, rather than looking at physical exportable goods, which is great too, but they don't need to look at Western partners. There's plenty of partners in their surrounding geographic mainly China and Russia. So to look at the potential of digital assets or what we would consider data centers, it's a perfect prime place to start looking at the tech side of things.
Let's get into infrastructure a little bit. No rule here on who wants to answer this question. Infrastructure, real estate, no rule other than Nomin goes first. So what, any infrastructure projects that you care to highlight or things that are going on? What's going on with building?
So, as you may know, Mongolia is actually quite heavily dependent on mineral industry. So pretty much our 90% of our export is based on minerals. So as Namuun just stated, that government is trying to diversify away from mining sector to tourism, to agriculture. Just fun fact to say that Mongolia produces about 40% of the raw cashmere of the world. So we are in process of getting cashmere to be processed in the country to the next stage. Same goes into the mining. We mine, but we don't extend it to the level of next level of production. So in the mining level, we are in process of bringing in more investment into refineries, like copper refineries, gold refineries, so on. We have fourth largest copper mine in the world. So on the other side, again, when it comes to mining sector, we have about 2% of the country is in the mining, but the rest of it is still available there to be explored. And also 95% of our land is state-owned. That really is something, the opportunity is quite available there. So having said that, general infrastructure is quite good, but in order to attract international foreign direct investment to the country, government has established about 14 mega projects. And the other infrastructure projects up to 150 billion USD investment opportunities there. And our government is open for business. We developed our economic development board that is one-stop shop for investors to come and work with government of Mongolia. So we're open, ready to welcome you. And there is a lot of projects, whether it be infrastructure, social, or a business project there is available.
Amazing. Any other, maybe Namuun, if you want to talk a little bit about real estate projects, you got a big one you're working on.
Yes, thank you. As you know, as we mentioned, that the tourism sector is ever so growing in Mongolia. We are investing in and building hotels and resorts. And one of the big projects that we are currently building is the Grand Nigeria complex. So it's a 54-meter high meditation center. If you guys want more information, there's a QR code on your tables over there to scan. And of course, there's a guidebook of Mongolia of which sectors you would need to or have to, want to invest in. Thank you.
And maybe get into a little bit of what you were talking about here. It's the railroad and road infrastructure, like development plans, how belt and road projects, like maybe talk about how some of this you think it might actually get done, like as this grows.
Well, I like to think of a big project and then kind of tone it back in reality. But if I were to look at the perfect positioning for foreign investment is, foreign investors need confidence, and usually if the government is not stable, the confidence level drives. And me as a personal investor, I wouldn't want to put my risk at somebody else's hands. So I kind of pitched an idea of sovereignty, so sovereign land. You have so much land in Mongolia. If a massive investment group came in the north of multi-billion-dollar investment, I would consider a 99-year lease on a sovereign property that is officially governed in terms of absolutes with the Mongolian government, but also provides certain sovereignty so that a community could thrive from there. And I would start it off with a tech stack. If you create a tech stack from there, all the opportunities of building, utilizing the materials, not for just export, but for in-use on sovereign land can be established. So I would formulate there rather than trying to create massive logistics, because the land is too big. So where do you start? So it's kind of almost creating your microcosm of another community there, so that foreigners come in and thrive at. It's a kind of free trade zone per se.
May I pick up on that? Let me just say, we may be landlocked, but we're very mind unlocked.
Yeah.
Let's put it up. But I think you picked up on it very well on maybe the land is maybe our asset. Yes, we have our immediate neighbors are big, and that is something that actually we believe it could be our opportunity as well. And then renewable energy is one sector that is extremely opportunity based because what we have is that it is a country that has 265 days sunny, and it doesn't have earthquake, and it has a weather that is a lot cooler than the rest of the world. So if you're looking at a data center that has a cost efficient and also powered by green energy, solar, wind, stable wind sources there. So if you are if we consider as a country in a value chain of the next AI or next tech-based business environment, then we are in the value chain in the early part where we provide the data storages or the green energy generated data storages. So that would be a good area to look at to invest in the country. And I would like to say that in a way that early comers will have the better advantage of actually creating the regulation with the government. Because it's very early stage, the regulation is not there, let's say. You're trying to deregulate, we are trying to regulate the other way around. So, but if you're ethical, you have a mind and win-win mind in yourself, then government is willing to cooperate with you to create a regulation that can be beneficial for both parties.
So just picking up on that a little bit further then, so it sounds to me like Mongolia is pretty business friendly to outside investors. Does that sound accurate, or what would you say?
Yeah, that's the mentality we are putting together. So what I want to say is that the country is a democracy. Freedom of speech is incredibly high in our country. The social media plays pretty much as big role in here as in Mongolia, and about 65% of the population is young, under 35 years old. So it is a thriving democracy, open for business, ready to work with you, and everybody's mentality is welcoming to the country. And with that, government led by a young prime minister is trying to open to the rest of the world for foreign direct investment. So putting together an environment that welcomes business. So yes, I'd like to say that we are a country that is welcoming investors into the country. We may be inexperienced, but I think we can work together to create a better environment for business.
And Tianna, with your background in finance, I mean, what do you feel makes Mongolia a uniquely exciting place to invest?
There are many things, but Mongolia is set to be, as said earlier, to be one of the fastest growing Asian economies. It's projected to accelerate at 6.6% growth this year, as well as an increase from last year to now. So I think it's from $59.5 billion to around $63.1 billion this year. Also, this is on the backdrop of many industries. Mining was mentioned, including copper, coal, as well as other rare earths. There's also agriculture and livestock, which there's a revival that's being seen. On cashmere, this is a cashmere sweater.
I was gonna ask, I knew, but I was gonna.
Yeah, so if you want to see the high quality that there is, come find me after. I had my whole tracksuit to bring as well. Also, there's the renewable energy. So what's interesting is that by 2030, they are aiming to have 30% of the energy to be renewables, and it's currently around 10% now. So from 300 megawatts to 3,000 megawatts in just a few years. There are already contracts that are underway, especially with the Middle East. I like to compare Mongolia to like their legendary open steppe. It's very vast. There's many areas that are unexplored. Yet there are some risks, right? There are like changes in weather. There's political and economic risks. But with that, there's a lot of potential opportunity. There's young, very tech-savvy population. There's also many other opportunities in which, what was mentioned, you can help with the regulations, opening up with infrastructure and improving that, as well as, being that sandwich between Russia and China is definitely a strategic location for a Eurasian trade hub, as well as a logistics area. And then the third neighbor policy. So aside from Russia and China, being very friendly to other neighbors that are around. So for opportunities for Westerners, this is not the traditional Asian investments that can be seen. This is something that is different, and I think there's a vast amount of opportunities that are there. And it's really exciting to see what's to come.
Yeah. Maybe elaborate on the third neighbor policy a little bit more, if you want to jump in on that at all, Dan, and like what you see from it.
On the specifics, it's because of the positioning of the physical locations, but you're surrounded by all the stands.
Yep.
So there's more relevance towards Russia, who's more towards China. But Mongolia's kind of stayed neutral and been an aggregate for a third neighbor. So
Yeah.
I think this is where the whole idea of creating a sovereignty was kind of unique, because there's restrictions of Western companies for us to trade with, specifically Russia, and as well as in some respect China. So therefore, how do we create a kind of a Switzerland of Asia to provide new trades and new confidence? Again, it's all about the confidence. If we don't have the confidence, an investor rates that as a risk, so therefore requires a higher rate of return. I think that there's opportunities, again, to create the technical stack that will now surround ourselves in other trades. But because of, when we say landlocked, I say that in a gesture, is that's usually an effective exportable goods, but why not bring industry to Mongolia rather than think about exporting industry? So that's my position on it.
Yeah. All right, so I have one more question I'm going to ask, and the group's going to be able to, whoever likes to answer it can, or all can chime in, and I'm just giving you that warning because then I'm going to open it up to the crowd, and everybody's welcome to ask some questions. All right, so I want to go to Mongolia. Shirag got to go. Where's Shirag at? Shirag got to go to Mongolia. What do you do in Mongolia? Like, talk to me about the tourism side of things. What's fun, and why should everybody visit Mongolia? And Dan, so you can be sold on it too, because you said you haven't been. I haven't been either. Why should we go?
Can I start off with
Yes.
this?
Please.
A couple of years back, and it's been the theme, right? There's only a few countries in the world that have "go" in the name.
Yes.
And this was a big initiative in marketing for tourism as well as coming into the country. So if you can name all the other countries, I know them, let me know. But Mongolia definitely is one of them. So everywhere you can see, there's the "go" that's highlighted. And I think that's very crucial because it's such a beautiful country. Right when you step off at the airport, I was just so amazed by the air, and I came in summer, which I think is the best time of the year. And the winters are a bit too cold for me. I would have to have more than just that. But yes, it's a wonderful and beautiful country, and there's many, many things, and I'll let the rest of the panel speak on that.
Well,
You might be biased. No.
I might be biased. I'm the Minister of Culture and Tourism, so I have nothing but good to say about my country. But honestly speaking, Mongolia has an energy that really attracts you, and it's a magnet. Once you're there, you kind of want to come back and again. But literally what you would do in Mongolia would be, if you like adventure tourism, if you like nature, if you like culture, if you like spiritual tourism, it's the country to go. And from adventure tourism perspective, if you like one of those people who likes bird watching, if you like to do hiking, any sort of adventure tourism you like, it's there. And the fact that 95% of the land is owned by state, that means imagine your hotel, and that's your hotel. You don't have to go book somewhere. You go and that's where you stay. And the nature is incredible. And we, as a nomads, the culture itself is welcoming to people. Also, the culture itself is one with the nature. We do not wield the nature, but we follow the nature. We make sure that we respect the nature. So if you visit Mongolia, you'll be able to learn something from that history, something from that culture that will allow you to actually be able to live in the future, something that we're all trying to do as a sustainability-wise. And the other side of it, if you're really a spiritual person, the energy center is there. Come and experience that. And also, if you love culture, if you love history, how Mongolians been able to conquer on the horse the entire Central Asia, that history is hidden in there and there is to be explored. So I think it is a country that at this moment, if you come and visit, welcomes you, and then also you will always want to come back.
Amazing. Namuun, to visit the meditation center. No.
Yes, thank you. Yes, as Ms. Nomin has mentioned, Mongolia is a place where you come for great energy to learn about new culture. It's one of the last nomadic cultures that you can experience in the world, and definitely come and visit the world's tallest Genghis Khan horseman statue in the world. And of course, Mongolia is known for their cashmeres, 100% quality, pure cashmeres that big brands come and buy from, like Laura Canna and Brunello, and you can come and shop for cashmere at a much cheaper quality. I'm just marketing. And am I leaving anything?
More cashmere?
Fantastic.
I also want to add, going off the horse, if you're an investor or a tourist, I think being strong and resilient is one thing as an investor, but also being very adaptable to your environment is one thing, patience as well. And there's a city side, but also this beautiful country landscape that I think is so beautiful, and everyone should definitely go to Mongolia. And the last thing I want to say is about the horse is that once you find your pace, it's a very exhilarating ride.
All right.